In today's video I want to take a close look at the Sharpen Switch. I welcome you to the wicked gamer and collector. Playing pinball game through a digital way is the new way to play. Virtual pinball is not actually one of those many ways to play, and one of the things you can do is using this on the Nintendo Switch. And playing on the Nintendo Switch are all kinds of different ways, for example using controls in horizontal mode or having it in vertical mode and just using the touch. So horizontal, vertical are absolutely great, but how cool is it if you're going to be slapping a case around it or exactly connecting it? Because this is one of those ways you can play with Sharpin. I've been testing a lot of these products and this is absolutely worth maybe checking out for yourself, depending how big of your budget is. Because when you're looking into something like this, it's going to be not cheap. Because you're building a complete cabinet for your Nintendo Switch. We have seen those docking devices for shmups or some other cool things like building an arcade machine, but the Sharpin Mini is just the next level when it comes to virtual pinball. And with the Nintendo Switch combined, it looks absolutely fabulous, and it's just a very different way to play, where we're just actually having a bigger screen, a case where you can put your hands on and just play. This is just such a different experience. You can compare this when you're getting a racing wheel for your Nintendo Switch, PlayStation, Xbox or whatsoever. You can spend like hundreds, even thousands on a racing wheel to give like such a different simulation experience. The Sharpen Switch is exactly the same way how it works with this. The product itself will be shipped to you, and I can tell you that putting this thing together is super easy, not a problem at all, but because the manual he's giving you is absolutely fantastic, explaining everything how you need to connect it, including the encoder board and everything else. But what can you actually do and how is the overall experience? So this thing looks absolutely amazing, and we have both buttons for the nudge but also for the flipper being used. At the front we can navigate through the menu, even having a front nudge, so the nudging and everything has been configured like it should be. But when you're looking at the side buttons, they are long travel. I will replace them with some Senwa, and that we have to do because with the Senwa you have quicker response. The overall experience is not super bad, but that's one of those improvement points. Alright, so how about connecting the Nintendo Switch itself? I do have, let's say, some double feelings about this. So first of all, you don't want to put your, let's say, docking inside the case itself. It's not going to be very convenient. So you can see there's absolutely a massive cable nightmare coming out of this thing. Yeah, and that's the reason because I'm having it externally. So we're having the USB for the power and the jack for the audio for the tiny speakers. They are quite loud, by the way. And the USB for the encoder board for the inputs. Then of course the HDMI cable that goes in the docking station and the power adapter for the monitor itself. Okay, so let's connect it. So when you're going to be connecting this thing, we need the docking. There's no other way to connect this, otherwise we have no way, for example, using the USB. Because we need to give my speaker some juice. Alright, so the first thing that we're going to do is plugging in both of the USBs, one for the encoder board and the other one for the power for my speakers. Alright, next up, the HDMI cable. This needs to be connected through the docking station because we're going to be using the docking mode of the Nintendo Switch. Alright, that's it, that's the thing. Alright, so all the cables have been connected. The next thing that we need to do is putting this thing inside of your machine. But before we're going to be doing this, there are a couple of things you need to take in consideration. Yeah, you can dock it in, but it's highly possible it doesn't work. We need to activate the Pro controller into the settings. And the reason why, if you didn't configure this, we don't have any, let's say, controller inputs possible. The Pro controller wired communication, you can just see I'm setting it to on. Then it will give you a message and that's it. So that is for actually when it comes to the input of the controller. Moving on to the display. We need to set it to the table mode, and this is what we're going to be doing. You have different, let's say, methods, so it's kind of confusing, but I understand it was the first mode that we needed to use for having the right configuration. Okay, so the cable nightmare has been connected to the switch. The next thing that we need to giving the docking power and the monitor itself. Alright, so let's plug in these things, and that is just the way how you're going to be having a lot of cable spaghetti behind your Sharpen. But the convenient thing is that you can just plug it in just like that. And yeah, so man, what a spaghetti, what a nightmare. Please connect the controller is the message we're getting, but you need to press the A button, then it will automatically activate it. You can just see that we don't need to plug out the Nintendo Switch, we can just navigate through the menu. So that's very convenient. The only thing I'm just messing with it is how does it work when it comes like getting out of the game. Okay, but the other thing you need to take consideration, absolutely like kind of annoying that you need to buy every single table. The positive thing is that you can choose the one you want to have, but it can become very expensive. I've bought like all kinds of tables throughout Android and PlayStation and Xbox. Boy, I spent too much money on these things. But in the end, it's a lot of fun, and combining this with the Switch, it's absolutely epic, and the tilt also seems to be working just fine. The Sharpin Switch is a lot of fun to put together, but also play your virtual pinball games. It's just a different experience. I already mentioned before, it's a very expensive racing wheel only in the virtual pinball world. If you have an established collection for your Nintendo Switch, this is absolutely a cool way to get yourself a different overall experience of pinball. Is it worth your money? That is something you should decide. Thank you all for watching. Consider subscribing, hit that little bell, and it will be great to see you in the next video.